Hey, Miss Nadia. Hey guys.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
Pretty okay. Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I just went over a course that had a couple of test questions, and I took the test on these. I did a little bit better than the one that I would talk to Nadia about, but I actually created it in Notion, and I have it where it's multiple choice, so you could choose, and then like if you choose and there's like a caret, I'll let you know if it's incorrect or correct. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that if I continue doing that.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I'll be honest, I did not catch the very beginning of what you said because I was muted and didn't realize it. But like what I caught is that you said you took another practice test and then you created like a sort of practice in Notion with like carets to indicate which is the correct answer.
Yeah. So
Okay.
like it has like, the multiple choice instead of like having like little check, parts that you could check to say this is the one. You would just click here. I'll just share. It'll probably be a lot easier. And I didn't even know I could do this until I played with Notion. Still learning lots of stuff on Notion here. So like with this question, what is the pricing model of cloud computing? So you got discount over time, pay as you go, once a year, and flat rate pricing, which we all know like it's all about pay as you go. So like if you click, I'll show that's correct. And if you click here, it'll show incorrect.
That's cool. So you made these?
Yeah. So I don't have a lot, but I have okay, so the first one I think had 13, and then you got 9 here, and then 7 here. I'll keep adding. I don't know if I'll finish it tonight, but I'll keep adding. But I figured because I don't know, and I'm doing it from the Udemy course here, but I don't. I just thought it would be easier like having something interactive like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm like a weird person when it comes to that, where you're taking a test, because I thought about when I take mine on that book that I showed you, Nadia, what I was going to do is create like an Excel sheet and just do like test 1, test 2, test 3, like there's 6 tests, and then do like 1 through 65, and then just put my letter in. And then when it comes to checking it, then I could go to the next page, or I think it's like what is it, like 20 pages in between. On that first one, it ended on the 20th page, so I'd go to like 21 and just like start looking at it. But I don't know if I'll do that with those, but this one was a lot easier.
Yeah, I sometimes agree. I feel like sometimes having a way to test myself in something kind of interactive is useful. I guess because it's kind of what I'm used to with like um, Lambda and like other like online learning things I've done. It's a familiar format, I guess. So I can see that seem like a useful thing to do.
Yeah, I did get like a couple of wrong, but it was like little things. Like which one was it that it's like a weird one. I think it was I'm not, I guess I'm not comfortable with the IaaS, like infrastructure as service, software as a service, and platform as a service. So like it has like you only want to manage applications and data. What type of cloud computing model should you use? That one was the platform. I got that one wrong, but I thought it would also be helpful. Like, so then once you have these, then you could go and because I did update my notes where it has like keywords in the actual notes. So you could go in and click on it and it'll hopefully bring you to where you need to, like, you know, find where you need to catch up or re-study on that stuff.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to me. Like, I guess like Sable said, I do think it can be helpful to test yourself. So like if you like doing it, like obviously no pressure, but like I definitely check it out. Because like honestly, what you said about like the infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, I think. Hey, I don't know. I kind of get mixed those up too, like the IaaS, the PaaS, and the software as a service.
Yeah.
It's like
that one. Well, they also had like on demand, and I was like thinking like on demand premises because you have like applications and data on there, but they wanted the actual like model, and I didn't. And that's like the part where like I didn't read it, and I just read like the first sentence and went, oh, on premises, but they wanted the model, so that's where I got wrong. I mean, there's a couple, but like I said, I have like those carrots, so it helps. So like you could sit there, and I think it helps because like you don't have the answer saying correct right in your face. So then like you could be reading it and be like, okay, I think it's this, and then you could click on it, like which global infrastructure identity is composed of one or more discrete data centers with redundant power, networking, and connectivity, and are used to deploy infrastructure. And you have either edge locations, availability zones, or regions. Do you guys know that one?
I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit at the end. Could you repeat the last part?
Sure. And it could be my headset. Let me change my headset. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I got these wire headset, Liberty Air 2, and it took forever for me to figure out how to get them connected to my computer. And when I did, I didn't want to unconnect. So this might be a little bit better.
Honestly, it's probably not you. Just in case I was, you were worried with the headset.
It might be just because I was moving, and you know how you move with wire. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can see it being me. So which global infrastructure identity is composed of one or more discrete data centers with a redundant power, networking, and connectivity, and are used to deploy infrastructure? And the options are, I'll even share because it might be a little bit easier. Screen share. So it's either edge locations, availability zones, and regions.
I feel like I might just be taking a wild. Wait, let me reread the question again. Which global infrastructure identity composed of one or more discrete data centers?
I think my brain is saying B.
Use to deploy infrastructure.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say A. Oh, dang it.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of these, like that one was long, and I, some reason, picked regions for that one at first, just because I was thinking global. And then again, like I didn't read it. And I think it didn't help that I was like trying to do it as I was putting it into this Word doc. So, but yeah, so the only thing that I recommend is just read it. Don't just glance over it like I did. But yeah. And I don't know if you knew this, Sable. I actually have purchased a book here that has 6 practice exams, and the test is supposed to be 65 questions, and each of these are 65. So like you have your questions here, and then after you're done with your questions, you'll have the answer. And the cool thing is like, I'll give you the answer and I'll give you like an explanation why it's an answer and why, well, they don't really say why the other ones aren't, but it gives you the explanation why it is the answer. So I thought that would be helpful, like when you're ready to like, you know, practice test. But how much like notes and stuff that I've been doing, I've been trying to like randomly just take random tests just to see how bad I am, because I get test anxiety. So I'm trying to get myself comfortable with like just reading the questions and answering it, and hopefully like by next month I could try to take the test.
I feel like that makes a lot of sense, especially because like as you're like going through the course and then reviewing stuff, even stuff that might have been like easy to you because you kind of like say you get down mentally the difference between like availability zones and edge locations, it can be good to like repractice so you don't lose it. Because like even the question we just did, I was like, oh crap, I remember reading about the difference between all these, but now it's like kind of jumbled. So it's like, because it mentioned redundancy, I was like, I think it's got to be availability zones, because I know part of that is like they're close together, so you kind of have those resources available. But if one fails, you're supposed to be able to rely on another one. So it's like, that's what I was thinking. But it's like, I don't remember the definitions for everything. So it's like, I guess it's just like, long story short, smart.
Well, you did, you got it right. So. So whatever you're doing, it's working. But yeah, I just, because I have a habit and I think I get like anxious and I just don't read the questions like as thorough as I should. So that's the one thing that I say, like, just read them. And like I said, I think it didn't help that I was like trying to read them and then try to like move it over. Like I should have done the test first and then moved it over, but I was trying to like, you know, kill 2 birds with 1 stone type thing. But yeah, I just thought that would be helpful. And if you guys, you know, think that just looking at the book would be more helpful, that's fine. I'm trying to think of stuff because like also me typing stuff out kind of helps as well. So don't feel like, you know, if you don't think it's not helpful, don't feel like, hey, you know, hey, I think it's helpful just because I'm doing it. If you don't find it helpful, it's cool. I just figured as I'm doing it, I would share it because I was going to use it, because obviously like in a couple of days, I probably won't remember the questions, and just figured I just like reassess.
Okay.
So how are you guys doing with the actual course?
I started module 4 today.
Damn, girl.
So
I didn't think you were going to be done with it. I thought, you know, with everything going on, I thought we were still going to be working on module 3.
Yeah, I was thinking I'd just try to review module 3 over the weekend and then just have in mind just like start looking at module 4 Monday, because I didn't want to like be holding anybody back, I guess.
You're not holding anybody back. And like I said, I don't want you, because like this was 2 hours worth. So, you know, and if you're like following along and doing the actual steps that he's doing, that's longer than 2 hours, because, you know, you're taking your time and following it. And sometimes you gotta stop and rewind. And, you know, so that's the reason why I said, you know, I was using you as the person for the cadence, just because, you know, I think you have more things going on in your life that I think it would be a little bit more comparable for everyone else. Where, you know, me, I have, you know, my little side jobs and I got stuff that I'm doing, but, you know, I also have a habit that I'm like really bad at sleeping. So sometimes I'll just sit here. So I might be moving a little bit faster just because I have a little bit more time. So don't feel like you have to rush. If you didn't feel like you didn't grasp it all, I would prefer you to just say, hey, I want that extra week, than just holding up, because honestly, you're the only one that has been consistent showing up and talking to me and letting me know how you're feeling. So.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So I guess I should be asking, do you have a preference? Like, would you like to still be considering week 3 this week, or what would you like to do for the week?
I honestly, it doesn't matter, because I already completed all 4. So I just was gonna see how you feel, and then where you're comfortable at, and then we could, you know, maybe talk about stuff or just see how you're feeling about it, and then go from there.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, for me, I'm pretty much, I'd say still pretty close to the beginning of 4, where he starts talking about, I think it's elastic beanstalk.
Okay.
And it's like I know he said that you only pay for like the underlying resources, I guess AWS resources that you use. So it's like right now I'm kind of looking a little bit like the AWS elastic beanstalk like documentation / FAQs, because like that's one of the few like AWS resources I've seen used in labs a lot, and I'm kind of wondering why land used it basically.
You're on like slide 3 on 4, right?
Wait, where it's
Or maybe 4. Yeah, you're on module 4, part 4. If you're talking about elastic beanstalk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you got far.
I'm starting to think I might have skipped something by accident, because I clicked on module 4 and I was like, oh, okay, module 4 starts at 5:03, and now I'm like, wait a minute. I thought this was module 4 part 1, and now I'm realizing I skipped a whole bunch of stuff, not realizing this was not the beginning of module 4.
Oh, maybe because you're so used to me having it flipped around. Just because on the actual like syllabus stuff, I have it going in numerical order, and then the doing, like the most recent is the one that I moved over, so it goes backwards, so it's like 5, 4, 3. Maybe that's what confused you. I could see that happening. Would it be easier? Would it be easier if I kept it in numeric order?
No, the order's fine. I just need to like read the whole card. I just saw module 4 and clicked. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we're starting module 4 today, and started the video. And now I'm looking at it and I see it very clearly says part 4. That was my goof.
No, you're fine. I was like, man, she's just rocking and rolling. Yeah, I actually was going through some elastic beanstalk as well on that other course that I was doing. It's a lot of information. Where is it? Here's my practitioner. Yeah, I think I just finished it. Where, you know, the guy that I'm following, the other one, is talking about like how elastic beanstalk allows you to quickly deploy and manage applications in AWS. Like he kind of does like a brief understanding of it, and then he'll kind of let you know like what the service is used for, and then he'll also like give you like some I guess topics that are related to it. Like he said that you know, with Elastic Beanstalk, it supports a variety of programming languages such as Go, Java, Node.js, PHP. I don't know why I said HP. PHP and Python. And then he starts talking about this, I guess, servers, which I've never heard of Tomcat, but he talked about Tomcat and then the Internet Information Services.
At first, I thought you said Comcast, and I'm like, you haven't heard of the company Comcast? And I'm like, wait, she said Tomcat. Yeah, I haven't heard of that either.
It's funny. But yeah, and then like he talks about that the Elastic Beanstalk also uses Route 53, which is another thing that he said that I was not familiar with is CNAME. Have you ever heard of CNAME?
Yes, a little bit. Like,
that's where they create your domain name. So like me personally, I probably wouldn't go through AWS to create my domain name.
mm-hmm.
I would probably go to GoDaddy or, you know, something like that. But that's their version of like, I guess GoDaddy is like the CNAME. So that was kind of interesting for me.
Yeah, because I remember the first time I TPL'd, like our front end, I think was the front end of the app was deployed using AWS Amplify, but something was wrong with it, so it had to be redeployed. But I don't really remember why. And so we tried to deploy it using the naming convention they established. I think the product itself was called like Human Rights First.dev or something. And so since we were team B, it had to be B.human rights. And then the other team was A.human rights first.dev.
Oh.
And something was wrong with like I guess they had like a couple of sets of like domains that they already kind of had like reserved for their use, and it should have just been able to sign up that way. But like something was wrong with it, so we had to use, I think it was BD dot or something like that. Like I can remember watching Ryan Hamlin go into like Route 53 and like adjust the CNAME, I think. But yeah, so I don't have a crap ton of experience with it, but like I remember seeing it, I guess is what I should say.
Yeah, it's just funny because like on the course that we're watching as a group, I don't remember him talking about CNAME. And like at first I was like, I think this guy is just making stuff up. So like I paused the video and I started like typing CNAME, and as soon as I do CNAME, AWS comes up and I'm like, oh, it's a thing. So, but that was like another thing that I learned on that. Right now I'm going over, I think, SQS. So I haven't finished that one yet.
I remember queue service. What does that full thing stand for again?
Simple queue service. And then you got your SNS,
okay,
which is very similar, but instead of the queue, it's notifications. So like,
gotcha.
I think if I remember how my roommate explained it, and hopefully I don't botch it up. So like your notification, the SNS is kind of like your notifications. It pushes it out, where a queue pulls it in. So you got to pull in the, like, I guess like an email could be a queuing service where notification pushes it out. So like when you get like notification from Slack, that would be, I think, an example of SNS, and then your email would be like a queuing service. I know like some accounting services uses SQS for certain things as well, where it's queuing. I guess like your banking could be also queuing.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I would love to ask someone at Lambda who knew, like maybe this would be a good question for like Ryan Hamlin or like Jake Mallory, since they like do engineering type stuff. I wonder, why do they use Amplify to host the front end? And then like I've always seen like any time I've seen like DS students like deploy something for labs, it's always Elastic Beanstalk. So I wonder like why they choose Amplify for one and Elastic Beanstalk for the other.
Oh. Amplify versus Beanstalk.
Mm-hmm.
That would be like I don't know if Brian would know that, but that sounds like something that I know Lex actually did DSN web. So
Oh, really?
yeah, so she kind of understands some of that. Maybe, I mean, I could ask my brother, and I could ask Brian later as well, see if he has an answer, like, why it's just like, why are they using one and then later on the other, or one versus the other?
I guess like more like one versus the other. Like I wonder why they think, I shouldn't say think, but like why Amplify is more suited to like front end repos, and then like Elastic Beanstalk is always like for data science deployments. Like I guess
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, because I remember Joanne talking about Beanstalk a lot. I don't know. Maybe he would have that, and I could even ask my brother because he does a lot of data science stuff. I mean, he's self-taught, so like I don't know if he'll have an answer, but maybe something that will come around to it. But yeah, I could ask him about that.
Okay, yeah, I'd be super interested to hear like what he has to say. I'll probably dig a little bit the lab thoughts too, because like I know it explains what they use, but I don't know if they have anything on there as far as why. But I still love to hear whatever your brother has to say.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you thought was kind of interesting about what you kind of went over?
Let's see. Yeah, not really. Because like I said, I just started with the fourth module, which like I said, I thought was at the beginning, but apparently in part 4. So I'll probably end up going back through and watching, but like I don't think anything else really stood out to me.
Okay. Yeah, I know he kind of goes over DNS in the beginning, and then he goes over like how to register a domain using Route 53. And then he goes over CloudFront basics. And then this is where I was like a little confused, and I probably need to talk with my roommate about a little bit. The edge locations were versus regional edge I want to say caches, but I think it's caches. It's CACHES. Like, I don't know why I want to say cache, but I think it's caches. That one was like a little, like, I feel like I need a little more information on that. And then he goes over like CloudFront pricing. And then he goes over like a CloudFront distribution. And then he goes over ELB, and then he also talks about the application load balancer, like specifically that one. And I think there's like 4 different ones, but he just specifically talks about the ALB more than anything.
Wait, so there's an application load balancer, and that's separate from the Elastic load balancer?
So there's several different Elastic load balancers.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find my notes. I know I wrote it down. I think I need part 1. Yeah, so you got the application load balancer, the network load balancer, a classic load balancer. And then this one, I'm not sure if it's like part of this or what, but when I looked up stuff like on the video, he didn't talk about it, but there's a gateway load balancer.
Oh, okay. And you said there's like 4 total, you said, and that's the 4,
Yeah.
I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like, and then he like specifically talks about ALB more than anything. And it's like for architect components.
Okay, that makes sense. So I wonder if you said he didn't mention the gateway load balancer in the video, right?
Right.
So I wonder if it's like they don't ask about that one on the cloud practitioner, or if he just left it out by accident. Like, I don't know. Would that be a question for Lex? I don't know.
I don't know if it's like, if it wasn't existing, because like some stuff, and that's what I'm trying to figure out with this other video, because it's more up to date.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's something that they added later, because, you know, AWS keeps adding stuff.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, he does talk about the gateway load. I think he does bring it up in part of the video, or maybe it's like another video that I watched. Like they're all meshing together on me. I apologize. But I remember seeing it and I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not part of the actual load balancing review, even though it says load balancer after it. Like, I don't know if it's, even though it says load balancer, is it part of something else? I don't know. That's like something that I feel like I probably need to, it's gateway load balancer part of. Yeah, it says like it's kind of part of it. But like when he does talk about it, he talks about, I guess, NAT, which is, what does NAT stand for? I don't remember. Oh. Networking address translation. So like he starts talking about like gateway and NAT on a different section. So that's why I'm like not sure if it's part of the LB.
You said NAT and gateway.
Uh-huh.
Is NAT like is that an acronym too?
Yes. NAT is network address translation.
Oh, okay.
And like, even I'll post this in Slack, because like I looked up what is gateway load balancer. I thought it would have like, I thought it X. Never mind, I won't post it just because it's, I mean, I guess we can. I thought I had, is gateway load balancer part of ELB, but when I clicked on it, it has like another, you know how like when you click something and then it brings you to a different web page, it doesn't have the same question. Yeah, so it just says, what is a gateway load balancer?
Gotcha. Yeah, I hate when that happens. I'll like Google something and I'll see like they'll Google search will like highlight like a shortened version of the answer to the question I'm actually thinking of, and you'll click on the page and it's like what the preview showed is like nowhere near where I can find. Like,
Right. That's kind of like what just happened to me. Yeah, because like there's also something called Internet Gateway.
mm-hmm.
I'll put this in here. There's like a ELB cheat sheet. I don't know if we've already had this, but let's see, it has. See, like on this one, it only shows the 3, kind of like what our video is talking about. It only has the application, load balancer, the network, load balancer, and the classic. Doesn't have the gateway on here.
No, I see. Yeah, it's just got the 3 of them. I wonder if it's possible if Gateway is like newer, or if it's like maybe not used as frequently. I don't know.
Could be. But you would think like they would still have it in there just in case. Oh, there was an article. Oh, where's my phone? About so there's like 2 different types of EC2s. I almost posted it in Slack and wasn't sure, and I guess I should. Let me see if I can find it. So I get like updates, like I requested certain updates on Medium articles or blogs that people post.
Mm-hmm.
And where is it? So it says, I don't know if you remember when we were going over EC2, but you had your EC2 and then you had your EC2 Classic. Apparently they're retiring the EC2 Classic because not a lot of people are using it. I don't know if you guys would be interested. I guess I could post it. They said that, because the regular EC2, so it's one of those that you have to customize and add. And I guess because their basic EC2 is just, the default and it's just easier to do, they're gonna, retire it. And as of, I think they said August, you're not going to be able to use it. But then they have till sometime next year, the people that are using it have to convert their stuff over.
So it's the Classic EC2, that's the old version.
There was 2 different ones. You had your regular EC2 and then you had an EC2 Classic.
Okay.
Yeah. And it would be like EC2 Classic, where, so it says, okay, so it's August 15, 2022 is when you're supposed to have everything converted, and it's October this year that they're going to just disable that that option altogether.
Okay, so they'll go from having the 2 versions of the EC2 to just the 1 then?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I think in the video, he talks about the Classic. And he talks about like the EC2 and the EC2 Classic network environment. So I wonder if they're going to take it off the exam.
That's a good question, because like if you can't use it anymore, then it's like I can't see why I need to test people on something they don't have access to. Like,
right. But I just thought that was kind of interesting. And I guess it wasn't. It's called the Register that I got it from. Apparently, like I sign up to like all these articles and blogs, and I can't keep track of like what's what.
I've definitely had moments like that.
I thought it was a Medium, but it wasn't. It's the register.com that I got it from. Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to kind of go over?
I don't know about Sable, but nothing really for me.
Okay.
Yeah, personally, I'm good too. I'm glad I came. I feel like I don't have a whole lot to contribute though, because honestly, I'm still struggling up with catching up more than I thought I would. It's just kind of been a rough week, honestly, but this was still useful, and I'm getting there. But I don't have anything now.
No worries. You know, and sometimes just hearing us talk kind of helps a little bit. And then what I'll do is, so I'm trying to think, should I know like Nadia, you're doing part 4, but I know Sable's still catching up, and I know there's a couple of people that are still catching up. I just wanted to see, like, should I continue to keep it for module 3, and then just depending on like where you're at, Sable, and then, or should I move to 4, and then we could just keep talking about stuff, and then if you have any questions, we could kind of go over that as well.
At least from my perspective, that I don't want to hold you guys up, and I feel like you said, listening to you talk has also been pretty useful to me. So if you just want to move on, if that'd be more productive for you guys, and then I can always ask questions since it's stuff you've done before. I'd be down with that. I could keep coming until I am able to catch up and stuff.
Yeah. And then like if you have any questions, I do have notes for each like part that I have that we've already gone over. So if that's something that you're interested, I could repost those for you. They're also in Trello, but I know sometimes it's just easier to have them like right there for you.
Okay. I could try to find them on the Trello, and then maybe I could shoot you a message if I struggling, but I could look on there first, maybe.
I could also just show her where they are on the Trello if she's having a hard time finding it, if that helps.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I've been kind of consistent trying to add the notes in with the card. I'm like looking right now. Yeah, so like if you look at the attachments, you'll see where I have notes, and then I'll say like AWS Cloud Practitioner Bootcamp. So like I'll have the notes in the cards. At one point I didn't. As I was going, I kept adding. So yeah. Now like the ones that have, so like, where is it? I know there's like a part where it just is the review and hints. I don't know if I have the actual notes in that part, but it's just basically everything on there. So yeah, and I'll move these cards over, and then I'll do the first 2 so it's not overwhelming, because this one is also like a little over 2 hours. And then once we get to part 5, things start going a little bit faster, because like after we get to part 4, after part 4, I think we only have like 3 hours left. So out of the 8.
Oh, okay, so yeah, it's mostly over by then.
Yeah. And like towards the end, like you'll see where I have like there's like 18 parts. Those are not half hours. Those are like sometimes 2 minutes, but it had like so much information of breakdown of each one that I thought it was just easier to make it its own little card. But I could always convert them, and maybe I'll convert them so it doesn't seem overwhelming. And then, but yeah, things are, and if you guys are wanting to go over like some of the questions ever on here together, we can, that will help. Even if we get them wrong, at least like we're trying.
Yeah. And then repetition too, I think helps.
Definitely. Definitely.
That's a great idea, actually. I like that a lot.
Yep. The only thing that really stinks is like on the ones that are in that book, I wish that they broke it down to like, computing, like the different categories that we would be reviewing. I think there's like 4 or 5 different categories where they have the percentages. I wish it was broke down so then we could actually like say, okay, these questions are just specifically for this, and these, we just reviewed this, let's go over these questions. So I don't know if I'll have time, but maybe I could try to like look at them and like pick some out and go from there. Or we could just scroll down looking at them and see.
You know what I still find weird is when like I know ECT stands for like, I think it's like cloud compute or something, elastic cloud,
Whatever. Yeah.
And it's like the thing that's always weird to me is like when they talk about paying for compute power. It's like, I guess I just think of a computer like very like rigidly. Like I think of like a MacBook or like a Windows or something. So it's like, I know technically speaking, it's like resources to get stuff done, but it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's weird. Like it seems abstract to think of it in terms of computing power, I guess is what I should say.
Yeah, I could see that. The one thing that I do find nice about having an EC2 is you don't have to download stuff like, for your AMIs, you don't need to get like a Linux. You don't need to download Linux to use and stuff like that. So that's helpful. It's just like having that virtual machine, bringing in that other operating system so you can work on and make it, easier to work with. I mean, I'm still like trying to get comfortable talking about this stuff, but yeah.
Right.
And then like the big thing, and I think like once I get my stuff situated with my getting like an S3 done on my own, I'm still trying to visually see how it is. Like my roommate told me it's very similar to like what I've been doing. So like I've never really during my projects, I never really like downloaded a image in my VS Code. I've actually converted it into like, I think post images and got a link out of that. And he told me that's very similar to what S3 is, because like I kept going, I don't understand. And he's like, like you were doing that link thing, that's very similar to what you would be doing with S3. But it's like one of those things, like I think I'll have my aha moment once I actually set it up.
Wait a minute. When you say image, is it similar to like how you get like Docker images?
It probably. Like, let's see if I have.
It's like I'm having a sudden aha moment where it's like I feel like I've been listening to people mention S3 buckets, and it's like because they mention S3 buckets like along with like images, I've been thinking of it as like a photo storage service this entire time, and I'm suddenly realizing that's probably completely wrong. Like
it's not just photo. It could be files, it could be videos, any type of documentation and stuff like that. But what, like with my resume, I probably want to put it in an S3 as well. So what he was trying to explain to me, so like when I go in here and you could like upload an image, I don't know if it'll let me. Here, choose an image. Go here. And then like this direct link is what I used to put in. So like I would do an href in my code for my image code, and I would just put this link in. And then I don't have to, so like post images storing that image. But like in VS Code, not VS Code, in AWS, he's saying that it would be very similar. Like it would have like a similar link that I would be linking into my stuff. So like,
I'm sorry,
so like if I go here and then that link in here, now my image is right there. And it was all just with a link.
it could, and you're saying it could be like a photo shoot, like you use for the illustration, but it could also be like any type of file.
Right. It could be a file. It could be, you know, any type of documentation, videos, anything could be stored in the S3. Just depending, you know, obviously there's a certain amount of CPU and memory that we get for free on our tiered version, but that's something that, you know, we would have to. And I think it starts out with like 4 on the CPU, and you could bring it up to an 8, if I remember correctly. But it's like one of those things that, like, I'm talking about it and I feel like how I'm explaining it makes sense, but in the back of my head, I'm like, I need to see it because, like, it's not concrete yet.
No, what you're saying is making sense. I think where I was messed up is like S3 being able to like store like links to images makes sense. I think I just took it super duper literally and thought like I thought of S3 as like only for images. And so like you saying you can store other stuff is like making sense. I was thinking it as like some sort of like online photo storage service. But now it's like I'm having the like Eureka mode where it's like, oh, images is just one kind of thing you can store with the S3. I guess this is what's like making sense to me all of a sudden.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, once I do that, so I want to do the EC2, I want to do an S3, and I want to do a Route 53, but I want to like get I have like a domain name that I have already that I want to convert into my EC2. So it's like those 3 things I'm excited to do, but also scared, but I'm like, you know, dragging my feet trying to get things done to actually get to that part. But I guess like once I get it situated, I could share.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I think what I want to try to do is go through like some of the tutorials that Amazon has, like setting up like a front end application or like some other stuff, just to like get like the hands on. And I guess I need to kind of like put my big girl boots on too, because like I'm kind of dragging my feet doing like getting in there and like doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's one of those, I think part of me I'm excited, but another part of me it's that fear factor. Like once I get in there, like, am I gonna understand it? Like, will I be able to stop in the middle? It's like, I don't know. I get in my head too much. And I think that's like my biggest downfall on a lot of stuff. I mean, I think that's also like my issue with test anxiety, that I get in my head. Like I'll know the information, but I doubt myself.
Honestly, same. Like I feel like it's more comfortable not knowing what you don't know. Whereas it's like sometimes I'll get into something like for the first time and I'll start working through it, and then it's like all of a sudden it's like I thought I had questions, and now I have questions on top of my questions because like I'm questioning. It's like, I don't know, it's just easier to not know what I don't know.
Yeah, because then it just spurs up more questions, like you said.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'll move over the rest of the module 3, and then I'll move part 1 and 2 on module 4. And I believe I have my notes already. It's signed in those ready. Yeah, they are. And then we could go from there.
Okay, cool. I'll watch module, I guess I need to start part 1 of module 4 and try to like jot a few things so like I can come to the meeting Wednesday with like things to like discuss, or like I might even look up some of the questions that we talked about and like have like something in mind that's like, hey, this is cool. Like, I don't know, we can do like a little show and tell, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about Route 53 a little bit, and the ELB. I still gotta get a little more comfortable with the cloud front, but I mean, it's one of those things that you gotta keep like either like reading or just going over just to understand it.
Right, especially because it seems like a lot of the services start with cloud. Like
you got cloud, you got elastic, and then you got like as service at the end. Elastic is a lot of things, like we were talking about. I guess elastic compute cloud, EC2. You know, when you think elastic, you're thinking of like it like stretching and then coming in, and it's not so much like it kind of does that, but it really doesn't. Like you don't see it stretch and then and you know, and then shrink, and then EC2. It just depends on the services, and I guess that's where like the load balancer, where it scales out, right? Am I getting that right? Where the load balancer scales out.
Yeah, I think what it seems like is like the EC2 can like expand for like how much compute power you need, but I think the load balancer is supposed to like direct it so that it's like the traffic is dispersed equally or something to the resources that scale up. I could be wrong, but that's like the way I thought of it.
Yeah, I think like it's one of those where it could scale up or scale down.
Mm-hmm. So you're only paying what you're actually using or something.
Yeah. So like if you know that, like they used an example of if you have a sale on one specific thing, you know, because of that sale, you'll have a lot of people, you know, hitting that website. So you want to be able for it to spin up multiple EC2s. But after that sale's done, you know, that traffic is going to go down. I mean, it won't, you know, just depending, it could go down to like half the amount. So then, you know, why have those EC2s running? It, you know, I guess disables those and then has it available whenever that I guess the more people come in. So it just goes in and out.
Right, and you don't have to like waste time like configuring it for your infrastructure. Yep. Like,
yep, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's super cool. I guess it's like, I think the thing is, it makes total sense. I guess just depending on like what scale you're used to. I guess because I'm like one person, so it's like for me, I can do whatever I want on a computer. Where it's like it makes sense that you need a way to like scale resources if you're like one of these big businesses where it's like you have different amounts of traffic, and like if you have too much traffic, it can like crash everything. So it's like, I got in that sense, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, my roommate used the example saying, you know, he's like, say that you're going on Oprah and you're like going to talk about your website, you know, that's where you would definitely want to have where the EC2 expands, you know, with that load balancer and direct, where you know that there's more traffic coming in, so you don't have to physically go in and upload those EC2s, extra EC2s to get that traffic.
That's a really good illustration too, and then you don't have to guess like how much extra like power you'll need. Like it'll just do it for you.
Takes the guessing work out. I think that's even like in the notes.
So I'm like so paranoid, I would end up like paying to the nose, thinking, well, what if like the, you know, the president of Australia or somebody wants to get on my website and it's crashing for him. Like we need to buy every server they have, and then I would get like 2 extra patrons, and like I'd be out of like a whole crap ton of money like configuring stuff. Because like, you know, I'm a warrior ward, so I'd be like, let me make sure I'm ready to go, and it's like it would not be good.
Right. I would feel the same way, just making sure that people are able to access it. Like there's something else, I don't know if it's the load balancer, but it was like something else that they talked about where it stays in storage. So like once it's up, like once that person uploads it in the cloud, I'm gonna have to look at that. It's in there, so it doesn't have to always hit that website. It could just pull that. Maybe that's what CloudFront is. Let's see. Here's an example. Let's say we spin up an EC2 in AWS. We're hosting an AWS application in Ohio region, and that we want to use it around the world. Yeah, so it would be CloudFront that would be saving that information.
Okay.
here, I'll read through the example that I have here. Now let's say we want our contact to be accessible by all users across the world. Users across the world want to access our web page on our web application. Now, when having all these users trying to access the web application all across the world, they will always get the ideal response time. So will they get the ideal response time? And at that time, no. So that's where you want the users closest to Ohio. So like right now, we have our Ohio region. We deployed our instance in Ohio. So if we want someone in London to hit this, it's not, they'll be able to get it, but the response time will probably be a little bit slower just because it's pulling the resources from the Ohio region. Excuse me. And then, so if we want the application to grow in terms of users and in terms of content, we obviously want to ensure users across the world get a seamless experience when they access the web application. So when we deploy a CloudFront distribution, it makes use of the edge locations. So these are devices, service, sorry, my eye is like watering. Data centers, they are located across the various regions of the world. So it's like similar to having a data center to host all our AWS resources. We have these edge locations located across the world. And then these are connected to the CloudFront distribution. See, like when we start talking about like other stuff, I remember reading stuff, I just don't remember the terms. And that was like one of them, the CloudFront. And I guess I do understand it. I just, it's like in my head, but it's not like there permanent, like for me to pull up and be like, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm like the same way. I have like a really strong memory for like useless facts, whereas like when it's like I'm trying to like put concentrated efforts towards learning something, it's like it takes way longer for it to stick. Like I'll remember a stupid joke that was made like 5 years ago that's like embarrassing, but like if I want to know like, well, how did CloudFront locations, relate to such and such, it's like it's not there for me.
That's funny. I think it's just how we think. I mean, sometimes I wish I had like a, photographic memory, but I don't know if that would even make life easier.
Yeah, like, or like those people that have like, what do you call it? Eidetic or something memory, where it's like they remember like everything they've seen or heard or read. Like,
yeah, that would be cool, but I'm sure there's downfalls to that too.
yeah, probably, because there'd probably be some stuff that like you'd want to just forget. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, the explanation for that CloudFront is in the Practitioner study guide that I'm creating as well. This one, so like all my other notes have like a lot of detail that I think will help for like if we decide to go for the associates. But these notes for the Practitioner study guide is just the basic stuff. You need to know the basics just to get through the exam. You don't need to know the nitty-gritty. And my problem is like I want to get into the nitty-gritty. So that's what I've been doing with the other course that I'm following, is just like, quick understanding. If it has a common use case, if it kind of goes over an explanation where it's easier for me to like visually see, I've been putting it in the notes. And I could share those as well. I think I have, but I'll share them again. But if you guys don't have anything else, I might just hop off.
Okay. In that case, I guess I'll see you Wednesday then.
Yeah. And I'll update the information that we're working on Slack that I didn't do on Friday.
Okay. Well, thank you. See you Wednesday.
Okay, sounds good. I'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Thanks.
Cool.
You're welcome. Thank you.